David Bartlett, thank you. Now a position statement from the Liberals. Will Hodgman.
As I was saying, our policy prism, or the prism through which we will consider our policies and the challenges that face Tasmanians will be very clear. When we get bang for buck from the money that we spend, we will need to assure ourselves in the Tasmanian public that we've got a business case, that what we're proposing stacks up, that it's got community approval, that it has a social licence. But also, we need to be accountable for results. And the government I lead will be exactly that, as I say, by reporting on key fiscal and performance benchmarks and ensuring that the Tasmanian public is fully informed about what they are getting for the taxpayer funds that are invested into government services. I believe that our state service is comprised of wonderful, hard-working people. I believe also it could be reformed in a way that provides a greater degree of efficiency, greater bang for buck, but also in a way that empowers state servants and indeed people in our broader community to make the right decisions.
Thank you. Nick McKim.
Thank you, Tim. I want to pick up on something Will said, and that is requiring a social licence. Well, I could reel off projects that are currently being proposed in this state that have no such thing. The pulp mill for the Tamar Valley, the Rouse Bay Canal Estate, no social licence. And what that does, especially when they're approved through dodgy failures to assess key areas that have the capacity to impact on the health of our people and the health of regional economies, such as the Tamar Valley, what that does is it divides our community. And as I said at the start of my contribution, if we're going to be the best place that we can be, if we're going to have the future that we all want to have, we need to be working together. We need to share common goals, a common strategy, and work hard together to make Tasmania the best place it can be.
All right, David Bartlett, 60 seconds.
We must leverage government money, public money, up wherever possible. We have demonstrated this, as I've already outlined, in our irrigation investment, where $80 million of state taxpayers' money has brought in $140 million of federal money. We'll bring in another up to $200 million of private money to ensure that this is the best program it can be. We've done it in optic fibre, where $30 million invested in state government money. We'll see a $500 to $700 million investment by the federal government and billions of dollars of investment over the coming decades in commercial returns. We apply the same to renewables, where we can invest a small amount, leverage more federal money, leverage more commercial money. That's how we get bang for buck from Tasmanian state taxpayers' dollars.
All right, a rebuttal now from Will.
The true test of government performance is, as I say, in results. And it's easy to spend the money. You only need to look at some of the results to see that it's not being well spent. Hospital waiting lists up 35% since Labor took office. Public housing waiting lists have doubled. School retention rates have hit rock bottom. Infrastructure Australia's audit reported Tasmania as a failure when it comes to investing in our infrastructure. We are not getting the bang for buck out of the current government. One other issue I want to raise, and I think it's important and it's difficult to argue up against important issues like health and education, but the workings of our democratic institutions. Our parliament is too small, it's not working effectively, it's not delivering the right set of service deliveries, standards and the sorts of benefits to the Tasmanian community that it should. People's confidence is diminished and decision-making becomes skewed, in many cases corrupted. We need to revisit this issue. We should have an independent commission look into it, not political parties with a self-interest, and get it back to a state where it's serving the Tasmanian people better,
Well,
not
thank you
just
very
political.
much. Putting the position now of the Tasmanian Greens, Nick McKim.
Thanks, Tim, and I couldn't agree more with Will on the size of our parliament. It's a broken institution and not delivering anyone in this room the outcomes that you deserve from your members. This topic's about budget efficiency, bang for buck, and ultimately what that requires is discipline from government, not panicked, ad hoc decision-making of the kind that we've seen recently from Labor, where money is being given to companies with no rigorous and transparent criteria, and a situation which leaves Labor open to the accusation, and I believe it to be true, that it is making decisions in its own electoral self-interest, not in the best interests of the Tasmanian community. Now that's a terrible thing to say about a government, but they are desperate to hang on to power after 11 years on the Treasury benches. We need budget discipline. We need to put in place criteria for transparent decision making in terms of corporate
Nick, I'll
assistance.
stop you. Thank you, David Bartlett.
Well, again, this is another one that Nick McKim couldn't find on the website this week. The industry assistance principles that are in keeping with the Tasmanian Development Act 1983 and administered by the Tasmanian Development Board, of course, are on the website, trust me. And even when I told him in Parliament this week, he said couldn't seem to find them. The point of the matter is, and I'm happy to get on the topic of industry assistance as bang for buck, if we take much criticised by the two leaders of the opposition, the Vodafone deal announced 2 weeks ago, a $3.5 million investment, $1,000 per year per job for 7 years, will deliver in payroll tax alone some $10 million back to the Tasmanian taxpayer. That doesn't even bring into effect or count the economic impact that the loss of 400 jobs, or indeed the gain of 500 jobs that we're going to see, positively will have on that area.